Time. Remember, I asked the question, who would it suit better? It has clearly suited Holland because the Brazilians just got wound up too easily.
Well, I think they lost it completely, Dara, when they lost the equalising goal. They went completely. They never reacted to that. They reacted with more fouls themselves. Yeah. Robben was, how can I say, intimidating them by holding onto the ball, by dribbling with the ball, instead of running alongside him and just taking their time and getting men back behind the ball. They started really sizing him down, making stupid fouls. Dunga had to take Bastos off because he was going to get sent off. And Felipe Melo got sent off for something ridiculous. For one, he fouled Robben, then he started to stand on him, stamped on him. You know, the self-discipline of the Brazilian players was not there. And that's why they're out. And I don't think you can blame Dunga for that, or you can blame negative tactics for that. Ronnie said the lads up front didn't do it in the second half, but they didn't get the service. The people behind them had lost their heads.
But Kaka tried a few things, Ronnie. But has he? Like he's had a. Like he's a fantastic player, but he's had an ordinary World Cup. I know it's easy to say now they're gone, but when they fell behind or when they were even level, it's Kaka, Robinho.
They're the ones you're looking to, but they're the ones Brazil. Yeah, they're the ones Brazil are looking to all the time. But you need a little bit more than that to win a World Cup, you know, than three players to turn it on. You need people in midfield to start getting forward and creating chances, as Liam said, for Kaka. Didn't get much at all up to them second half, but they just basically went. It was just seemed to be too much for them. We've seen so many great players, or supposedly great players, like Kaka, Rooney, Van Persie, even, who's still in there. Yeah. But these great players haven't shown up in this World Cup. Kaka's been very, very ordinary. Tonight he wasn't in the game. But as I said, they need more about him. Brazil, you know, number one in the world, ranked number one in the world. They've got to have more in midfield. Gilberto Silva was 34 years of age now, and he strolls about in there when things are going well. When things are going bad, you don't see him. They haven't got enough players in there to help the three big players that they should have, or that they did have.
I still think it was just a goal, and the temperament of the Brazilian teams and the team and the self-discipline of the players just went out the door completely.
But you ain't going to win anything big if you don't have that. The Dutch had it, okay, it was there. You know, they were the more aggressive in the tackle.
Well, we said before the game that they would be tested today in a way that they hadn't been tested in this World Cup, the Brazilians. And we didn't see elements of that poor temperament or poor self-discipline prior to this because they weren't really pushed. But today they were asked a few questions and they simply disintegrated.
But didn't the Ivory Coast push them physically in the group game? And
yeah, but they were always winning, weren't they, Dara? They were always winning. They were always in control. Even today, you know, they were standing up physically to the Dutch, and they were given as good as they got. But that mistake by the goalkeeper, and it's very unusual because he's had a great season for Inter Milan, was incredible. Yeah, it was a gift from heaven for Holland. Yeah, because they didn't look like scoring.
But you've also got to give them a lot of credit, the Dutch, for the way they went about it. Yeah. And Robben as well for standing up to and saying, keep giving me the ball out here. This fella's going to get booked, he's going to get sent off, but give me the ball again, I'll go at him again, I'll see what I can do. And they kept doing it. Eventually one of them got sent off. It wasn't the left back, but they kept giving it to Robben, and he was prepared to take it and run at them and cause problems.
I wonder what Johan Cruyff thinks. Do you remember beforehand we were talking about how he wouldn't go and pay him much Brazil? He even had a go at his own team, and Van Marwijk, the coach, had to go back and say, look, this guy is just caught in nostalgia. Here they are, Holland, the Netherlands, whatever you want to call them, in the semi-finals of the World Cup. And, you know, we're talking about potential winners.
Well, Liam has backed them already from before the tournament. We said they were a dark horse in this tournament if they got things going. Because of the run, they were on 23 games unbeaten or whatever it is. They've won 11 out of 11 in 2010. Yeah. So they're on this great run, and that breeds confidence. And they've showed, they didn't show it in the first half, but once they got on top second half, they showed that they're a half-decent team.
I didn't think they won it today with football in any way, shape or form. I thought they won it with temperament, and they won it on a set piece, and it shows you how important set pieces are. It was a lovely corner kick, little flick on, and the smallest guy in the park nods it into the back of the net. I think they showed more discipline than the Brazilians. I really do. I don't think you can talk about football this match. I thought in many ways it was a disgraceful match for the amount of fouls that went on, cynical fouls. We showed a load in the first half. There was just as many in the second half. As I said to you, the full-back Bastos had to be taken off the pitch before he was sent off. Felipe Melo was sent off. Van Bommel should have been sent off. De Jong was very lucky not to be sent off. It was just one of those I think it was. I think football was a loser today. It was a horrible game, really, in that respect.
I think that was the way the Dutch felt they had to go about it. They got it right in the end. If they were going to get in about people, in and about Kaka, in and about Dani Alves, in and about the full backs, and they give fouls away, and the Dutch have done all this, and it was proved in the end that they did lose their heads to the Brazilians, but it's the way they went about it.
Liam, do you remember chatting beforehand, your quote from Giovanni Trapattoni, that the Dutch won't mind? Do you remember? What was the quote about winning matches? I can't remember the exact wording.
Well, no, he said the results at the end of the... Tomorrow the performance is talked about, but 2 days later it's the result. And that's going to be a great result in Dutch history. They're in now into the semi-finals with a big chance of winning the competition. I don't know whether they'll keep enough players. Now, now, if I'm right, all the yellows, it's finished now, isn't it? You know, if you get booked and you have a yellow card now in the semi, you'll be okay.
You'll be okay for the final. But Van der Wiel
they've
and De
lost
Jong
two now. They've lost two for them, and two very good players. The right back Van der Wiel is very good. De Jong is very important. So you just don't know. You just don't know. Maybe this match is going to be costly to them in a way that it's going to be difficult for them to overcome those two players missing.
But they'll fancy Uruguay or Ghana.
Yeah, you've got to, wouldn't you? I'm sure Brazil would have loved it, but the Dutch now are there, and they can play football as well. You know, they did get some fouls in today, some tackles in, but they can also play football. They've got players like Robben. De Jong's a good little passer when he's on his game. Tenacious, gets in about people. Van Persie, there's another game more or less under his belt, so he'll be fitter again the next game. Yeah, they've got to fancy themselves.
Okay, for the moment, guys, we'll leave it there. We're going to go to a break.